It's quite expensive. It's out in June, and how much are games going to cost? It's VGC, the video game podcast, with a special emergency edition reacting to the Nintendo Direct Nintendo Switch 2, and there's no one I'd rather react to the Nintendo Direct Nintendo Switch 2 with than Chris Scullion. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing excellent.
Yeah.
I'm very happy tonight.
What a day.
What a day. I'm shattered, but in the
Yeah.
best possible way.
Yeah.
We've nailed it today, I think.
Rarely do, in my opinion, shows like this live up to the expectation, not even from a quality of game thing, because we'll talk about that later, but there was just a lot on. There was just a lot going on, and that's what's exciting about this. There
was more than, by the end of it, there was more than 50 games there.
Yeah.
Like when you count the sizzle reels and all that kind of stuff. And considering before we went into it, we knew about one of them.
Yeah.
We didn't know. Fair enough, a lot of it was ports, but we went in knowing a single game, and we came out knowing another 50 of them.
Another couple.
So yeah.
Well, we're going to run down the biggest news and talk about our reaction to it. We will have more Switch 2 coverage. Our fearless leader is not feeling great. He's down with the flu, so he's not joining us tonight, but we'll get him back maybe next week for his thoughts. But let's start it. Chris, release date confirmed. It is coming out on the 5th of June. It was the worst kept secret in showbiz. We knew it was coming out in June. We just didn't know when. Thursday the 5th. For us personally, couldn't be a worse date to come out because we're very likely going to try and be on flights that day. But I suppose if it's better to have it sooner than later, I suppose. For 100% of people, it is a fine date.
Yeah, if assuming the June was what people were expecting, everyone would have been hoping the start of June rather than the end of June. So, yeah, like you say, for almost everyone, that's the perfect date. For us, it's almost as if Nintendo looked at a calendar and said, "How can we annoy the most journalists at once?" Because Summer Game Fest starts literally the next day, so there'll be a lot of people traveling, not just us potentially, but also other. Basically journalists from all over, even all over the US will be travelling over for it like the day before. So
I'm telling you, we just need to get them shipped to the hotel. It'll be fine. And then they don't arrive in time and we have to ship them back to the UK. Interesting. So as far as we know, 2 SKUs. We have a normal and we have Mario Kart World. Scores in the doors. It's going to be $450. I predicted £450 but it'll be €470 and £396, which is very strange.
It's really specific.
The bundled version is £430, €510, and
£420 quid.
Yeah. $429.99 for the Mario Kart World bundle. What do you think of the price? I think it is about what I expected, but I expected it to be hefty anyway.
It's a wee bit higher than I expected, not massively, because I think when we did the predictions, which I'm sure we'll talk about in depth on another podcast, when Andy's back, but I predicted, I think, 370, and it's ended up being 390 something.
396.
396. Sorry, to be very specific. So it's not miles off what I was expecting, but it's obviously on the high side of, but without before it going crazy, because they could have said like 500 and everyone would have went no. Although in the US it's 500 if you want Mario Kart with it. But that aside, I think it's fine when you look at the specs. And when you see the footage of some of the games and see some of the games that are coming to it, like Cyberpunk and stuff, we're talking Steam Deck, kind of specs here almost, in terms of the games it's running. So I get it. I
didn't feel too bad about it. I think them not announcing it on the broadcast, unless it being broken by folk like us afterwards, in conjunction with the price for accessories and the price of games, which we'll talk about in a minute, is a bit of a tough one. But the price of games thing is, let's get into it. So Mario Kart World, we'll talk about the game itself in a little while, but it's been confirmed that the physical version of Mario Kart World will cost a very strange £75, where the digital version will be $66.99. First of all, Chris, a £75 physical game. Who are they? Sony?
It's mental. I mean, to be fair, and this is about as fair as I can get with this, they could charge what they want for Mario Kart and it'll shift millions. That's the only game where they could realistically put that price on it and know that it's going to sell. And that's shown with Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong
Bonanza, which is $66.99 physically. Yeah. Another number picked out of nowhere, and $58.99 digitally.
So still pricey, but not as pricey, especially the digital edition. Like that's in line with kind of a lot of kind of first party Nintendo stuff. Well, some first party Nintendo stuff, not a lot. So yeah, Mario Kart is one of the very few kind of name your price type situations. I wonder if tariffs are coming into play here.
That's what I thought as well.
Because that's expensive even for Nintendo, and you wonder if they're anticipating taking a hit on tariffs and kind of trying to mitigate that. And they can do that for Mario Kart, but maybe not for other games. And that's also maybe why digital's cheaper, because it's physical where the tariffs are going to kick in. And so that might be why. It doesn't make it a sweeter pill to swallow. That's a pricey one. But on the other hand, it's going to encourage a hell of a lot more sales of the bundle of the hardware that comes with Mario Kart, because then that works out about £50.
Yeah, that was really odd. It's less than that because the bundle,
less than that, $50. Sorry.
In the UK, so the physical copy is £75. In the UK, the Switch 2 is £397. Switch 2 with Mario Kart's $430. It's £30 if you get the bundle, and it's $75. Like if I pre-order a normal Switch and I want Mario Kart, I'm paying the guts of £500. Like what's going on there? That's very odd.
It's strange. But I mean, yeah. So it seems like the standard bundle without Mario Kart is going to be like the equivalent of the white Wii U. That no one buys, no one wants that one when it comes out because it's the lesser.
Well, guess which one I've got an invite on Amazon to pre-order. It's the bog standard.
Yeah, they all count. Was what I meant to say. I funnily enough didn't get my email from Nintendo, which is quite interesting. But that's for another day.
Yeah. The straight off, obviously we are going to get them. We're going to get them
some way. By hook or by crook.
By hook or by crook. Did you get the Smiths pre-order?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't because you're a shit pal. And you didn't.
Listen,
text me.
Apologies to the readers and listeners out there, but I actually texted Jordan the link before I wrote the story. I was writing the story when I sent him the link, so he got first dibs. But I forgot he was up to his balls in chicken wings when I sent it over. So I was
sticky fingered trying to check out a Smiths. Here's
phone slipping out your hand every time you try.
Yeah, not for the first time. Here's my gut on the whole thing before we get into the details. I'm not a Mario Kart guy, so I'm not too arsed about getting it immediately. I want to get it from the perspective of I like to get new games things. For me, and we'll talk about it later, the killer app for me is the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends ZA. So as long as I've got it by then, I'm quite happy, and with the GameCube stuff as well. But how were you feeling on it? Like, is that a launch that gets you razzed? I was kind of expecting Mario Kart and something else. If it was like Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's in July.
I mean, I think you're bad mouthing the tech demo that you have to pay for.
Oh yeah, the 500 quid guide to Nintendo Switch 2.
I mean, I'll be honest. Mario Kart's one of those few games that if that was the only thing that came out at launch, not counting anything else, I would be like, all right, that'll keep me busy for long enough.
Yeah.
Especially with the open world stuff. I'm curious to see how much there is to that, because obviously you've got, based on the trailer, there's 7 GPs with 4 tracks each. That's 28 tracks at least, not counting unlockable stuff. But then they had the kind of the open world stuff and the sort of weird thing where you can do 4 tracks in a row together that they mentioned. So there's again, we need to
you across the map kind of thing.
Yeah, we need to at some point watch this may be a Patreon thing or something in more depth. I need to watch the whole direct back, because every time we cover these things, we're only half watching them because we're writing stories while it's on. So I'd like to watch it again because I'm sure there's details I missed. But that's the implication I get, is this is going to be a much meatier kind of single player offering, at least Mario Kart wise, than we've had before. And there's lots of kind of interesting things in there that make the replay value kind of increased. It looks like there's boats in there. It looks like there's like
Costumes.
They've really gone costumes. They've really gone all out with like the minor characters. Like it looks like
Manic Miner.
Like Manic Miner, sadly not confirmed yet. Listen, you're playing with my dreams here. Where's all the Spectrum references coming from? Jet Set Willy. Yeah, it's like you look, at one point the penguin from Mario 64's in there. The cow from Moo Moo Meadows looks playable somehow. So yeah, if that was all they announced, I'd be like, all right, that'll keep me busy until the next thing comes out. It's the third party support that's kind of propping that up.
Yeah.
On day one, like I put a story up saying that 46 third party games were confirmed there, and 17 of them are coming on day one. And it's not just wee shiters that are coming on day one that are just kind of like things that are just going to be ready. You've got on day one, you've got stuff like Cyberpunk, you've got Hitman, you've got Hogwarts, you've got Street Fighter 6. Like there's some heavy hitters, literally in Street Fighter's case, coming on day one. So
I think what's also relevant is, and I don't know if I didn't see this, but did they say that the Switch 2 edition games, which if you're not familiar, this is how they're handling their upgrades. There are some free upgrades, so Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Mario Odyssey, they'll get free patches that increase playability, which is just a little boost. However, your Switch 2 edition games, which currently are listed as Mario Party Jamboree, both Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, not the 2D, the kind of cartoony ones, Kirby, Pokemon, and Metroid. Are both Zeldas, Kirby, and Mario Party on day one? Because I can see so many people being like, well, time to replay Breath of the Wild.
I believe they are. This is something, again, I'll need to double check. I believe they are. And I believe that they're part of the... What did you say? The Zelda ones?
The Zelda ones are part of Switch Online, so they've announced, and I want to get your feeling on this, they've announced that there will be a payment required if you own the Switch 1 versions to get the Switch 2 edition. How much do you think there'll be? How much is acceptable? And do you think they go back and do this with a lot of games, or is this just kind of the transitional period? Because I think it's very notable that they put out that list of, like, first of all, they put out that list of free updates, and this list, Animal Crossing, is on neither list. So there are still a few.
I think the way they're handling it, I'm just checking here to see if which one's it. No, wait a minute. So Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 edition is out on the 24th of July.
Okay.
So that's not at launch. The two Zeldas are launch day. They're both the 5th of June. Kirby Switch 2 edition is August 28th.
Okay.
And Metroid isn't confirmed yet because we don't know when Metroid's out yet.
Pokemon's
Pokemon.
Yeah.
The way they're doing it so far, from what we've seen, I think is fair enough. Because, like you say, some of them are getting free updates, and those seem to just be like a boost mode that you would get on Xbox Series X or PS5. Like it seems to just take the original game and just takes off some of the inhibiting factors, so like it unlocks the frame rate or what have you. But then it looks like these Switch 2 editions are actually adding new features.
Yeah.
In which case you're like, that's almost like DLC that you would have paid for anyway if they added that to Switch. So
Kirby's got a new expansion and stuff in it.
Kirby's got a whole new bit. Kirby's got a whole new bag. Mario Party Jamboree's got this. It uses the camera now, where your face can be in it, like gurning away. The Zelda games have got all this kind of mobile shit, which looks quite interesting the more I look at it. Achievements. You could send your designs to other people in Tears of the Kingdom and all that kind of stuff. If they're going to keep doing that, where you can get a free update that just ups the specs, or the Switch 2 edition, which genuinely adds new stuff, I'm up for that. If the price is reasonable. If it's like a tenner a go.
Yeah, I think it'll be between a tenner and £15 a go. Here's my question. So when Pokemon Legends ZA comes out, they've already confirmed that there will be physical boxes for these Switch 2 editions on the shelves. Is it going to be a case of the Switch 1 version of Pokemon Legends ZA is £50, the Switch 2 version's £65, and the upgrade's $15. Like, is that how they're going to work it?
So.
Yeah.
I would guess so. Either that or like a slight saving, or maybe it's like 50 quid for the Switch, 60 quid for the Switch 2, and 15 quid for the upgrade or something like that. I don't know. Just to punish people for not doing it immediately. I don't know. It's guesswork at this point. But yeah, certainly I think you'll get 2 separate SKUs instead of just one cartridge that plays on both. You'll get the grey cartridge version and the red cartridge version.
Yeah.
But
that Nintendo Switch 2 edition stuff looked really nice. Like I said at the time, it looks like a PC emulator for the Switch. Like it makes stuff look so
I wouldn't know about
better.
that, but
I've heard it. A bigger boy at school told me about it. Yeah, I think
but no, you're right. Like when they showed the Pokemon ZA or ZA.
Oh my god, this looks like a modern game. Well, it doesn't look like a modern
any
game.
any fears that the performance would just instantly go on, I'm like, that looks fine.
Yeah. Right, Chris, you can choose. Do you want mouse controls, C button, or accessories?
Mouse controls, please.
Mouse controls.
Because it had that extra wee twist, quite literally, that nobody was expecting, where everyone was like, oh, mouse controls, how's that going to work, blah, blah, blah. And not one person said, well, wait a minute. Not only is that a mouse, that's got gyro controls in it as well. And when they showed that wee mini golf game, I was like, that's very clever, where you're not only moving the mouse to move the wee putter around, but then you can twist the mouse using the gyros, and that rotates the putter. And I thought, well, that's going to be interesting. What are they going to do with that? And it could be one of these features that nobody uses, except that beyond that mini game, that could be the new ice cubes in a glass. Or
mouse control in Metroid. They showed that during the trailer. So
imagine like an FPS where you're using mouse controls, but then when you twist the mouse, you can almost kind of bend the gun around a wall or something like that.
Like Wanted.
Or like Red Steel should have been. When it came out on the way, it could be like that.
Do you know what strange game I thought of when they showed the mouse control? The Witness. It's like, this is the way the Witness is meant to be played.
Finally. But no, I'm up for that. I mean, it's one of those ones where just so far I don't know how it's going to play into things, but it's interesting. I'll tell you what's interesting before I forget. This when they first announced this tutorial thing, and we were like, "Oh, that looks really cool," and then they said it was a paid download, and so suddenly we're like, "What? What are you talking about?" But the more I look into it, like the Japanese website's got a thing up for it. It looks excellent.
Yeah,
like it looks like it might be worth the money. It's like the level of thought that's gone into it. The whole thing set in a big museum shaped like the Switch. So it almost looks like the Nintendo Museum, but it's switched to
Shiggy's up in a tower, as we've previously said.
Exactly, and you walk about, and it's got loads of mini games, and the mini games have got achievements, so you know there's loads of wee daft unlockables hidden away in there. And when you see the tutorial in that video, it doesn't just say, "Oh, if you move the Switch, if you move the controller, it vibrates." It's going into the level of detail that they did in Labo and that Game Maker fucking thing they brought out,
Game Builder Garage.
Yeah. Where they're not just saying, if you do this happens. It's explaining the kind of engineering behind it and showing exactly how the magnets work and why the rumble works and all this kind of stuff. I think it could be quite fascinating to look through.
I'm sure, I think we were just kind of taken aback by the way it was presented, but I don't think Nintendo puts this out unless it's like got a bit of Nintendo magic about it. I think because obviously the first thing your head goes to is, well, it's a bit Astrobot-y, isn't it? And Astrobot turned out to be absolutely incredible and a pack-in. So I think we kind of went, oh well, this is the pack-in. I didn't really expect them to do a pack-in generally. It depends how much this is. If they want $65.99 for this, and they can shove it up their arse, but
if it's 20 quid, that's the most I think I'd buy it without thinking. Any more than that, I'd be like, let's wait and see.
You'll get it regardless and platinum it, no doubt.
Well, if it gets achievements,
stars. We'll keep believing. Mysterious C button. This is probably the thing I'm least excited about from this console, just because I know I will never use this functionality whatsoever. You want to explain it? It's like the Nintendo Discord. They've made Discord.
Yeah, so it's called. Let me just bring up what it's called.
Game Chat.
Game Chat. Sorry, Game Chat. Game Chat, which obviously starts with a C.
Whoa!
What?
This is Game Chat. They better know. They better know. Make it virtual Game Chat. I'm not going to threaten Shigsy right here, but I'm not our lawyers are litigious. So
well, don't forget they've already done virtual game cards. That's what they've called the cards. That's already VGC.
Pokemon VGC, the video game championships.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to muscle us out here. Absolute scum of the earth.
We will win.
But the Game Chat button, because we all know Game Chat starts with a C.
Yeah.
So it's not the G button, but the C button. It seems when you press the C button now, it brings up a wee suite of options where you can chat with people, or you can, like you say, it's Discord style, where your game kind of goes up a bit and their little windows appear at the bottom, and they're saying you can adjust where the screens go. I didn't really look at that bit because I was writing. But then you can share your screen with them as well, so they can see what you're playing. And fair play to them, they didn't bullshit because you know that could easily have been mocked up. But they made it quite clear. No, listen, the other person's screen is going to be pretty low frame rate and low res. We're not going to be giving you 60 frame per second feeds running at the same time as your game here. So fair play to them for being realistic there, but at least you get to see roughly what their games look like. And also you can play something totally different while they're playing. So if they're all playing Mario Kart and you're like, stuff this, I'm off to play Snipper Clips on Switch 1. You can do that and they can kind of still see what you're doing. So I think it's a cool way for people who are social, not like us. I think it could be quite good.
I just thought, what does this replace? Like, I feel like this would have been amazing technology pre-Discord and like group chats and stuff like this. I think it's cool tech, but I would have loved the C to stand for community, and you bring it up and it's like a Miiverse-ish this type thing. They're hawking a £50 camera alongside it.
Listen, well, the other thing I want to test quite thoroughly is the claim that the microphone, which is built into the Switch 2 itself, not the controller, but the actual console, has got the microphone in it. And they're like, even if you're miles away, the microphone can pick you up. Even if your partner's using a blender at full fucking whack, the Switch 2 is able to go, that's a blender.
We should recreate those conditions exactly with a blender.
Someone just stands next to it going, ah! to see if it can still pick us up perfectly. So yeah, it also doesn't help that the camera looks like something that could fit in an anus. It's a really odd, like awkward, like looking thing.
The C button stands for colonoscopy.
But yeah, I mean, like it's literally, at least it's the first console accessory that can remove polyps.
Yeah, true.
That's always a
bonus. Paul Epps is the guy that works for VGC.
I know, and he's worried now because he's about to be removed. But yeah, I'm just happy that I predicted a webcam. We got one. It wasn't quite the way I pictured it, but
so you'll sacrifice the points then. Good on
certainly
you.
Certainly not. But yeah, it's a, like you say, it's a cool gimmick for people who will use it. I think it'll be cool for when a new game comes out, like a new single player game. Like I can imagine when Metroid comes out, there'll be a lot of people all buying Metroid together and then playing it together. And chatting through it as they play it and get to see what each other's doing.
What if it takes clips of you during exciting moments, so it's expecting you to go, oh, amazing, wow.
What if every time you go into first, like you see the reflection of Samus's face in the helmet, it's actually your face you see instead?
Every time you try and angle the camera to look at Samus's ass, it takes a photo of you and calls you a beast. The Pro controller, the GameCube controller, and the camera prices have been announced. The Pro controller is 75 notes. The GameCube controller, I believe, is 59 notes, and the camera is 50. £75 is a lot of money, but I do not care. I need one of these, and it will get used for years, so bite the bullet and get it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. I'm waiting to see whether the original Pro controller is compatible.
It isn't it?
I bet it is, but
Because it's not got the C button. It's how you meant to communitize without the C button?
We've already established that neither of us would wipe our arse with the C button. So, like, like if it can still play that without, and you can forfeit the C button, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I've got 2 Pro controllers sitting here already. So I'd happily not have to buy a third one for 70 odd notes. But, I mean, who am I kidding? Like, the Pro controller is the most comfortable controller ever made for my money, so like I'll grab another.
That's disrespectful to the Xbox 360 controller, but I see where you're coming from. Third party fly through: Elden Ring, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 7 remake. Those are probably the big kind of hitters. I think it's safe to say, based on the power of this, every video game ever released will at some point make it to the Nintendo Switch too. Because why wouldn't it? Yeah,
they're all, when you're hitting the likes of Cyberpunk, that to me is the kind of the litmus test, as they say. If Cyberpunk and Star Wars Outlaws and stuff like that can be put on it, then most things.
Obviously, we didn't get a stats breakdown, but I'm imagining this is like a Series S type of racket, and if that works with everything, then
I'm looking forward to the kind of the breakdowns that we get when these things come out, because one of the games, let me look at the list. One of the games looked like dog shit when they showed it, and I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Hitman.
But
Cyberpunk looked alright. One of the games they showed, actually it was Street Fighter, the World Tour bit in Street Fighter looked pretty shonky. But then they said the actual fighting can be 60 frames a second. Yeah. So that made me think,
bizarre though, because at one point they're like, Metroid runs at 4K 60 or 1080 120, and you're like, oh, what are you talking about?
Does it,
Is this thing going to be £800? Like, what is this all about?
So it's interesting. I don't know if like some of them are just aren't being need a bit more work and just haven't been like optimized properly or whatever yet. But also, here's a very nerdy thing I noticed, which is almost certainly not a story, which is why I didn't write a story on it. One of the games released is where is it? One of the games that's being released is Wild Hearts S, and also being released is Tetris. What was it?
Puyo Tetris 2S.
Puyo Tetris 2S. So are we going to start getting S at the end of some of these games because those are the Switch 2 versions and therefore not as good? Or like, because I want to see more of Wild Hearts S, because that looked a wee bit like the art style was a wee bit different, and I don't know if that was just them downgrading it or if it was a wee bit.
Remind me what Wild Hearts is.
Wild Hearts was EA's.
Oh, that thing.
EA's like attempt at Monster Hunter.
Everyone remembers it. Everyone was great fans of it.
I mean, that ran like shit on my PC anyway, so like fair play to them. But there's some interesting third party ones there that especially some games that didn't really do the business on Switch or were quickly abandoned on Switch coming back, like WWE 2K, our favourite. They tried one of those on Switch and it was an absolute car crash. Speaking of car crashes, get well soon, Mick Foley. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was Rikishi who did it for The Rock.
Recreating his Titantron video. But the WWE 2K is coming to Switch 2 apparently, and as is NBA 2K. So if you're worried that microtransactions would be making it over, then you're in luck.
Microtransactions will be there day one. Is it not? Do you not think it's
and his brother, Huey transactions.
I'm waiting to hear for Raymond and Stevie Trayson, seeing if they're going to.
The Trayson brothers have been notoriously quiet, conspicuous by their absence.
I think they're doing time. Do you think it's weird that they didn't put a number on the 2K games? They didn't say we're getting 25 and we're getting 25. Do you think? I bet NBA waits for next season, but WWE's just come out. Why not just put it out like with a WrestleMania edition or something?
Just geese it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping what they'll do is, because they released the Bray Wyatt pack for 2K24 like halfway through. Yeah. God rest him indeed, halfway through it. I'm hoping they'll do some sort of unannounced pack halfway through 2K25's life, and then
they are. Do you not mind me? I think we said it on the podcast. The same guy that correctly leaked to the celebrities in the lineup said that there's a Goldberg pack coming like halfway through the year, so maybe they do it with that.
That'll be it. Goldberg. Where playing it just gives you a concussion instantly. But yeah, and also like on a very nerdy note, which I know won't appeal to many of the UK listeners, but I certainly care about. Madden was announced, which I'm a big American football fan, so that's a big deal for me, and it'll be a big deal for Americans because the last time Madden was on a Nintendo system was 2012. They released Madden 13 on the Wii and the Wii U, and then just said fuck this, and that was it. And when Switch came out in big Soderland, was it Soderland that came out?
Yeah, it was Soderland.
FIFA's going to be on Switch, and everyone's going, and Madden, and they were like, no. And so Madden was never released on the Switch, despite being one of the biggest franchises EA owns and one of the most popular systems of all time. They never took the time to downgrade Madden to get it working on the Switch. So Madden on Switch 2 is a massive deal for American sports games fans, because that's the first time it was essentially the first proper handheld Madden since it was on the DS, which was like shite. so that's a pretty big deal. So that's a good one.
I want to talk about the GameCube, which is how I open every conversation with you. Yes. Good morning, Chris. I would like to talk about the GameCube. Look, GameCube coming to NSO, very exciting. They're doing a controller, but for the love of God, I genuinely cannot believe this. They showed that Wind Waker's coming, obviously. Soul Calibur 2, cool choice, because obviously features Link. What was the other one? The one that you two were freaking out about?
F-Zero.
F-Zero's coming. And then they said, more are coming soon. And I was like, oh, this is going to be Odyssey. I'm not going to get what I wanted, but I did get what I want, Chris. They are bringing back Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Colosseum, two games that not only have never been re-released, two games that the Pokemon Company actively avoids talking about because they were not made by Game Freak, they were made by Genius Sonority. Made up of a largely non-Japanese team. This is very exciting. If you've not played them, they are third-person RPGs. They are nails hard compared to normal Pokemon games, and they were so different. Physical copies of those games go for hundreds of pounds. So the fact that they've decided enough time has passed, we can we can close the book on Genius Sonority and re-release these games. Very, very exciting for me. That is honestly, I'm sad that it's honestly for the best that that's not a launch game, because if it was, I'd be way more angry about not having a pre-order sorted, because that's all I would play, both of those back to back.
I think the important question though is, where the hell is Pokemon Channel?
Exactly. Pokemon Box as well.
So, and I'm also, listen.
I'm listening.
Switch 2 has a mic. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Get N64 app, get Hey You Pikachu on there.
You know, Chris, I've got a wee hint and tip for you. See, if you say PlayStation into the mic, it goes mental. Absolutely loses the rag.
To be fair, if you say anything into the mic, it goes mental, because it just doesn't understand a single thing. What a game though.
See if Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness have full Pokemon Home integration. That would be huge.
Careful now, because you're going into.
I know I'm signing checks
for
my ash can't catch, but there has previously been precedent for this. Like when they re-released the GBA games on 3DS, those were all home compatible. And it feels like it would be harder to do that with that old stuff than it would for a GameCube game. I'm not a scientist. I'm no Professor Oak. I'm not working on the Silphco project, but
Professor Poke.
Yeah.
I know, that's
pie in the sky.
Excited.
I can't believe we've got them. That's pie in the sky stuff. I'm so excited to play those.
And it opens up like infinite, like what GameCube games are coming next.
Star Wars games. Do the deal to get the Star Wars games. Do the deal.
Immediately you're coming up with the stuff that won't happen.
Day of Reckoning. WWE Day of Reckoning. Do the deal. Here.
I'm bringing up a list of GameCube games just now, because my mind's gone.
Twin Snakes.
It has been a day and I'm absolutely shattered.
Here, I think they'll do it. They've spent the last 10 years re-releasing Star Wars pish. How many times have they put pod race in it? Surely they can get the Jedi Knight games.
But you really want Star Wars before Bad Boys Miami Takedown?
Well, that's a good point.
So
you've sent me for a look here.
If we're talking license things, get BMX XXX on there first before we start worrying about
some good versions of Tony Hawk on the GameCube.
Speaking of which, 3 and 4 confirmed.
3 and 4, no sign of Bam Margera. We've got you in our hearts. We're keeping the lookout for you. But the GameCube stuff's cool. I'm really happy with. I am not a Switch expansion pack member because I've just not been using my Switch in the past year, and the only times I have was to play Pokemon, and you don't need the extra stuff for that. For this, I'm getting it. No question about it. Yeah, it really is. Get you. Instead of just saying, here, do you want to buy Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale Darkness for 30 quid a skull? How about you pay, how much is it a year? 50 quid or something like that? How about you pay that instead?
40 even.
40? Yeah. A bargain at any price. A circus of value.
Plus then you'll get access to, what's the Pokemon one that's on N64? Stadium one?
Stadium's there. 2. I think Puzzle League is there as well. I'm not entirely sure though. Yeah.
So there you go. That's you. Pokemon do.
Still no classic Game Boy Pokemon games coming to anything. Not interested.
No DS either. I was hoping for DS. A DS thing. I get the old Pokemon Trozei.
Switch 3. Oh, the Pokemon typing game that only came out in the UK and Japan.
I've got it, son.
Well, that's
a game.
That's a bit of rarity there. Joe Merrick could have your hand off for that. Your hand?
I'm not that good at it because I can't identify a lot of them by sight.
Pikachu. Golem.
Is that a squirrel? The flying bird thing.
Let's talk about this. New FromSoftware game, The Dusk Bloods, is coming exclusively to Switch 2. Let me tell you, this game's trailer stopped the VGC chat in its tracks, man. The three of us were sitting there looking gormless thinking, is this Bloodborne 2?
Castlevania?
Is this Castlevania? What could this possibly be? Is this Castlevania made by FromSoftware? And it turns out it is a PvPvE title with multiplayer at its core. 8 players vie for supremacy amongst themselves and against challenging foes. No thank you. Miyazaki, why are you wasting your time on this shite? Where's Bloodborne 2? This looks immaculate. But the game part of it...
Well, let's wait and see. Because a lot of times these things are sold as one thing, as their unique hook, but there are options in there to avoid the necessity for them. So it's PvPvE, but there may be just a PvE mode for those who are like chase yourself. So I would hope that FromSoftware see sense and realise that, hey, this is a system that a lot of people will be playing on the move, and a lot of times when they're playing on the move, they won't have internet connectivity or a friend nearby with a copy of the game. So maybe for those people, let's make a single player mode as well, because that's kind of sending it to die a bit, making a mainly multiplayer game for.
I think the only thing that stops it sending it to die is the fact that it's a Switch exclusive, which blew my mind. I thought this was just going to be they announced it here, but it's on everything. It being a Switch exclusive is a bit bananas. IMO.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
cool trailer. We'll, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just, I thought this was like, holy crap, they're doing a new fucking like single player FromSoftware directed by Hidetaka. But it's not that. I'm trying to see if there's anything else before we start talking about the Nintendo games themselves. It seemed we've pretty much cleared up. What do you think of the box art? I think it's I like that it keeps the red motif, but I think the bit at the top's too big.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking exactly that. It's a bit shite.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm mostly digital these days anyway, so it doesn't bother me. But I know there's a lot of people who care about that. I like that they've released this kind of game key. What's it called? Is that what they're called? The game key.
Yeah.
Boxes where it makes it basically clear to people whether the game. Whether the preservation nuts will get to should be buying that game or not, because basically if it's a game key game, then you need to download it from the eShop, and if it isn't, then it should run from the cartridge. It's good that they're kind of giving the option to clarify that, because I believe Cyberpunk runs off the cart. From what I understand, Cyberpunk's a 64 gig cartridge, so I look forward to seeing how much that costs physically. But yeah, but I think some other games will be like game key cartridges, which essentially means in theory 15 years from now when they shut down the eShop, those games won't work anymore physically.
Sorry.
So, yeah.
Sorry, folks.
But at least they're telling us up front. And,
telling us up front or burying it on the website for freaks to find. Shout out to the Discord, who was very helpful today, by the way. They were finding stuff that we couldn't see the forest for the trees on, so shout out to those
were
boys.
absolute heroes.
Yeah. If you could get me a fucking Switch pre-order while you're at it, that'd be good. Nope, still nothing. Okay, let's talk about Donkey Kong. They finished the show with Donkey Kong Bananza. It's the Donkey Kong game we've been talking about for a long time. It seems like an open world. It looked, put it this way, it looked like it was a Mario Odyssey sequel. So you might be inclined to realize what kind of game it looks like. I think this looks cool. I wish it wasn't the closer. I don't think it's exciting enough to be the closer. However, I bet you it's still pretty good.
I'd say to Andy, because Andy was saying the same earlier, I'd basically say to Andy, if they swapped that with Mario Kart in the order, even though we knew Mario Kart was coming, we didn't know it was open world. If they'd have opened with Donkey Kong, people would have went, oh shit. And if they'd have closed with Mario Kart, people would have went, oh, Mario Kart, we know about that. Oh, wait a minute. And then like would have kind of ended on a high. It's a shame because like on its own, like if without the context around it of the Switch 2 and it being the and finally game, I think it looks excellent.
Yeah.
So like as a big platform game fan, like it's my favorite genre. For me, it's a great ending. But I appreciate that not everyone is big on that on platformers and not everyone is big on Donkey Kong. So for them, that's an underwhelming finish when they could have had a Pokemon or a Mario game or a Zelda or a Splatoon or a Pikmin or something like that. So I get it. But for me, I'm up for it.
Yeah. I think it is. It's weird because out of the context, if this ended a normal Nintendo Direct, it'd be a great ending. But I was so sure that we weren't going to get out of here without seeing a red cap. I just thought that's the way that you end it. The Switch one began life with Breath of the Wild. That was the tone setter. I was sure that this was going to start. Maybe not the Mario game would be out now. It's maybe come out for Christmas. Is the Mario game the June announcement when they do their E3 timed direct? They finish with, here's one more thing. Here's the big man. Here's the moneymaker.
It's out at Christmas.
Yeah, it's out at Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much. Because what was it? Because there's one they announced today that's out near the end of the year that definitely isn't a big one that's going to sell a lot. Nintendo announced another game.
Oh, the game where it was like wheelchair basketball or something like that?
No, that's the summer, but I'm sure there was something else they said was coming out near I can't remember what it was.
We should do a schedule tomorrow. We should do a story that's just here's everything coming out on a schedule.
Yeah.
If anything for us.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, I think Mario gets announced in the summer and comes later because at the end of the day, this is what I'm actually surprised Mario Kart's there on day one because Nintendo know they'll shift these things regardless of what's there on day one. They can afford to save Mario until it needs another reboost, and that'll be Christmas time. It's
Mario Pokemon. What a Christmas they've got. Mario Pokemon, that's it. Like,
exactly. And even then, that makes me think they might even save Mario till like March or something like what they sometimes do. So, but I'm up for that Donkey Kong. Like you say, I'm curious to see who developed that because it looks a lot like the Odyssey team, which then makes you think, well, where the hell, who's working on the next Mario? Yeah. If that, but we don't know how long they've been sitting on that Donkey Kong game as well. Because like you say, we've been talking about that for a long time. It's Nintendo's been getting ready to push Donkey Kong for a long time.
Let's get the rocket strapped, brother.
Like we've been saying, they've opened the Donkey Kong world in the theme park. There's the rumours that Donkey Kong's featuring heavily in the next Mario movie.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, so they're pushing. So fair enough. It's his anniversary next year. It's it came out in 81. So what's that? Don't know my maths.
35?
45 years. So yeah, the Donkey Kong's the man just now. I love the design. I love the redesign.
Yeah, because I feel like the Mario characters have kind of all looked uniform and on message since like Wii U transition. Maybe since they needed HDR of them, they've all kind of looked the same. And I like that they're changing it up a wee bit. I wouldn't mind them doing the same with Mario and not just do what they did for the Switch, where it was like, look at his overalls, look how detailed they are, look how furry his mustache is.
I really want to put this Mario Kart 8 next to Mario Kart World as well, side by side, because when you watch that trailer again in 4K and look at it, like when you see like the details are, there's a lot of detail. The way the wheels bounce when they land on the ground, like Peach's outfit looks infinitely more detailed
when she lands on the ground. Yeah,
careful. But it's just, I think that's going to be a really attractive game. Like when you slow it down, like, you know, if you like that, you slow the replay down again.
Oh yeah,
I think the difference will be chalk and cheese, like in terms of the detail.
Especially at a nice high frame rate that a racing game needs. I think it'll be a cracker. I think it's a smart one to start with. Just be like, oh yeah, I couldn't play this on the original Switch. It wouldn't look like this. The same way.
Game of the year. I'm calling it now.
Pokemon Legends. Yeah.
Mario Kart World.
I think it will serve kind of the same purpose of, you know, when they put out the Demon's Souls remaster on PS5 and the whole thing was how fast it was and how beautiful it looked. I was like, okay, that's like your obvious, we can't do this on the past one kind of thing. I meant to mention this, Chris, the UI is exactly the same. What they're doing here. It's exactly the same.
It's just, I'm praying that there's themes in here, because the thing looks, I mean, it's 99% the same. The icons are different.
Yeah.
And there's like one icon which I don't think makes sense yet. There's like a notes icon or something.
But it still just looks like the PS4 cross-media bar.
Very similar. I'm just trying to bring it up. It's disappointing. And none of those look very achievement-y.
No, they don't.
Like, unless that wee green note one is like a list of achievements.
I thought I think that's notifications. So we're looking at an image of the UI. So first one, Nintendo Online. Second one is Game Chat. Third one, I think, is notifications. Shop, screenshots, downloads, controller settings, card, system settings.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Then hopefully achievements is under the profile at the top.
Right next to themes, right next to the Miiverse. It's all coming.
Right next to Street Pass.
Yeah. Kind of closing thoughts. I would give this a pretty solid 4 out of 5. I don't think it had a rip your hair out game, despite the fact that you'll see in my reactions I screamed the house down when XD Gale of Darkness was confirmed. But I don't think there was no part of it where we were like, oh my god, this is going on for ages, man. This looks shite. What are they doing? Some of those revelations came afterwards when we were writing stories, and it was like, what do you mean Mario Kart's £75? Like, I think they mostly nailed it. It's certainly a better presentation than the Switch 1 got by a country mile.
100%.
But I think if you'd put the Mario in there, if you'd had like maybe one more, I suppose all their big hitters are kind of at a point of the cycle where Tears of the Kingdom was last couple of years. You're not ready for Anuma's next thing. Pokemon's mid thing. Their main game will be next year. Mario's the one that you're kind of waiting on to do his thing. I think honestly only Mario was missing, which classic. They should put that on Switch too.
What a game.
I would have liked to see Mario, a Mario announcement, and I don't know if there's much else that I would have needed to push that up into the next tier. I thought it was really good. I'm not too bothered about the price. I mean, I'm the person that was fucking defending PS5 Pro, so I really can't talk. And this actually has games, so so yeah, I thought it's a good day to be a gamer.
I think it's also a particularly good day to be a Nintendo gamer, because if you are the sort of person whose main system is the Switch, because a lot of people stick with the Switch and don't really dabble with the other consoles so much because maybe they're mainly handheld players. The sort of person whose 3DS would have been their main system back in the day, and then they moved to the Switch, and that's how they mainly play. For them, there's a lot of brand new games here that are new to them. Like Elden Ring is new to them. Cyberpunk is new to them. Street Fighter 6, like they're getting a load of massive games instantly at the same time, and then later they're going to be getting Final Fantasy VII remake before Xbox does. They're getting Star Wars Outlaws now that it's been patched and is better. They're getting Tony Hawk. They're getting 2 Point Museum. They're getting Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which looks excellent, the kind of side-scrolling one. They're getting WWE again. They're getting EAFC, like a decent version of that. Like the new Professor Layton's coming. There's so much stuff that it is coming for this thing that I think. Hey, Ridge Racer.
Jordan Middler, VGC back here. When Hello. Does Phil Spencer get on a stage and say, yeah, all our stuff's coming too?
Summer,
yeah.
Summer, I think. Do you not come out and go?
This Oblivion remake's apparently on the 22nd of April. Do you think when they announced it, they go, oh, it's also coming to Switch too?
Probably.
I think they have the shite that's already on other things day one on Switch too. So
Sea of Thieves.
Indiana.
Indiana, do you think?
I mean, if it can fucking run Cyberpunk, there's no reason it can't run Indiana Jones.
I need to see what the minimum PC specs are, because
it runs on a Series S. That's a PS2.
That's a PS2.
Notable by his absence, but I think it's only a matter of time. Baldur's Gate 3. That seems like a natural fit. They'll make it happen.
The mouse controls.
Yeah, they'll make it so. Same. Your Assassin's Creeds were missing. All these people, if they'd spent the entire showcase saying what will all be on the console year one, it would be 4 hours long. I think this will have a ridiculous year one because everybody's just been waiting. They're like, we need to sell more games. Give us another console that we can actually run them on.
Over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot of developers stepping forward who maybe weren't part of this initial thing and didn't want to get caught in the ocean of games that have just been announced today. For, like I say, but more than 50 games were announced today. There'll be a lot of third-party developers who are ready to announce that they're on Switch 2 as well, but they're just waiting for it to calm down a bit so that they can get the kind of centre stage on their own. So I would imagine maybe even tomorrow you might get some more announcements. Next week you'll get some developers saying, by the way, we're making this as well and this is coming. You'll get a lot more indie devs turning up and saying, we've got a dev kit, we're going to start working on it. So yeah, you're going to see a steady stream. This was the first kind of boomf, and then you're going to get wee trickles going forward of more announcements. It's exciting times.
Speaking of boomf, disappointing that the noise hasn't changed much. I was hoping for a metallic quang or something like that to represent the magnets.
That's disappointing. It's exactly the same noise.
End things on a disappointing note. That's the VGC way. Much more Switch 2 coverage to come. We're going to do a Patreon special reacting to your reactions to the Switch 2 news. If you'd like to be included in that, head on over to our Discord. You can get our Patreon content at patreon.com/videogameschronicle. Myself and Chris and Andy will also be reacting and breaking down the entire presentation. That's going to be a long old video because I'm going to set it up so that we all have control, that we can pause whenever we want. And boy, can we talk shite. So that's going to be a multiple hour, that's a whole day of work that we're going to have to be doing on that. Obviously, a mountain of Switch 2 stuff as it comes. Not long now, Chris Scullion, I release you from this mortal coil. Go and get your kebab. Stand up for the first time in about 15 hours.
Oh, mate, I'll stand up and just like collapse.
Yeah.
It'll be like, I can't even think of an appropriate reference.
Just make sure that you collapse near your laptop because we are starting early tomorrow. So
Scullion fall flat.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, it's been a long day, but it's been a good day. I'm not going to start another monologue because that ended badly.
My tea's gone cold and wondering why. Until next time.
It's been good.
From me, Jordan, it's goodbye. From Chris, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Chris.
Long live Nintendo, long live Shigsy, and we'll see you next time.